could be ringing the church bell at this time? Maybe it ain't an ooh, Father. Maybe it's an it. And maybe it's tolling the bell.
Oh, there's no such things as ghosts and monsters. Haven't I made that clear to you?
Something tore the throats out of Charlie Rousseau's sheep, and that something didn't leave any tracks.
Andy Trent here saw a weird glow moving across the marshes last night, and this morning he found 2 of his sheep dead.
Their throats torn open. Maybe the same thing that killed Andy's sheep is tolling the bell.
I was on my way just now to deliver a special letter at Penrose Manor when a strange light appeared on the road before me, then moved quickly across the marshes and faded into the mist. I turned the cart around and hurried back here.
It's not real. First the light, and now the bell.
There's a very sound and logical reason for the bell tolling at this time, and I'm going to find out what it is. You can drive me to the church pots.
The letter can wait. No hurry.
Nothing will harm you if you're with the priest.
Is that true, Father?
Ah, what you need is more faith and less imagination. Come along.
I'd better deliver that letter to the manor. I'm sure it's important.
Goodness, that bell has stopped. Odd. It's tolling at this time of night.
I don't like it. What with this phantom roaming the marshes?
I saw it again tonight.
Who would that be?
Where's Lord Penrose?
He's gone to Quebec.
Get him on the phone immediately.
What's happened, Father?
Lady Penrose, dead, clutching the bell rope, calling for help. It was dreadful.
Her ladyship.
Call Sergeant Thompson at the police station. Ask him to come to the church immediately. Come with me, Potts. I'll need you.
Yes, Father.
Operator, put me through to Quebec. Lord William Penrose. Yes, he's addressing a meeting of the Royal Canadian Occult Society at a Quebec hotel.
It's urgent, sir.
Page?
Yes, sir?
Lord Penrose. Lamont Rouge is on the telephone. It's urgent. He's in the gold room.
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, as you know, the greatest obstacle in proving the authenticity of the occult lies in finding facts. However, if the facts are there, even the most hardened skeptic, provided it has an open mind, must finally acknowledge the actual existence of the supernatural. Do you admit that, Mr. Holmes?
Facts are always convincing, Lord Penrose. It's the conclusions drawn from facts that are frequently in error.
Yes, in the case of the Hound of the Baskervilles, as well as in the adventure of the Sussex Vampire, we found
Watson, please.
Oh, sorry.
Well, gentlemen, this time I have facts. Cold facts. Many years ago, 100 to be exact, an apparition appeared at night in the village now called La Mort Rouge. The following morning, 3 people were found dead, their throats torn out, hence the town's rather grim name.
Interesting, yes. But facts, no. I hardly think the tales of superstitious peasants can be considered...
I haven't finished, Mr. Holmes. La Mort Rouge has again been the scene of these strange and unexplainable occurrences. Unexplainable, that is, from your point of view. Several of our most responsible citizens have actually seen the strange apparition on the marshes at night. And next morning, sheep were discovered...
with their throats torn out and no traces of the killer anywhere to be found.
Oh, you read about it in the papers.
Oh, as a matter of fact, I haven't. It was merely a deduction. A rather obvious one, I'm afraid. Deductions are a weakness of mine, as Dr. Watson can tell you.
Would you believe it? Holmes can...
Well, those are facts, Mr. Holmes. Ignore them if you can.
But it's very urgent, sir.
Very well. Go ahead.
Thank you.
I never ignore facts, Lord Penrose. And I have no doubt that the incident of the sheep with their throats torn out is unquestionably a fact. However, the interpretation of this fact as being final proof of the existence of the supernatural is merely supposition, and therefore cannot be accepted without further data.
Your opinions, Mr. Holmes, are undoubtedly the result of your inability to cope with something beyond the realm of your comprehension.
Myself, man.
I'm sorry, John, but this ridiculous skepticism... Yes, what is it, my boy?
La Mort Rouge on the telephone, sir. Very urgent, my lord.
Excuse me, gentlemen.
I'm afraid, Lord
Well, it's
Penrose...
quite understandable, Sir John. Lord Penrose is deeply entrenched in his beliefs. That's his privilege.
Well, hang it all, Holmes, the fellow was positively rude.
Well, shall we see a little overwrought, Watson?
I'm leaving immediately. Order my card, Watson. Hurry.
Yes, sir?
Gentlemen, my wife has just been found dead. Her throat torn out. In exactly the same manner as the sheep.
This is terrible. I say, you don't think that it's...
Undoubtedly, Mr. Holmes, you would call it murder by person or persons unknown.
I'm sorry. If I can be of any assistance,
Thank you, no. I'm afraid the happenings in La Mort Rouge wouldn't interest you, Mr. Holmes.
Under the circumstances, I think we should adjourn.
Yes, indeed, Sir John.
Holmes, what a terrible thing.
Sir John, would you be good enough to convey our condolences to Lord Penrose?
Yes, I'd be glad.
Say, well, can't we get something to eat before we leave? We don't often get food like you do here.
Don't you ever think of anything else besides your stomach?
No, not often. I gotta get a paper.
Morning.
Good morning, sir. I imagine you'll be glad to get back to London, Mr. Holmes.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, by the way, there's a letter for you, sir.
Thank you.
Oh, here's something about Lady Penrose. She was found in the church with her throat horribly cut. Evidently dragged herself from the marshes nearby and tried to summon help with a bell rope. What's it? What is it, Holmes?
Listen to this, Watson.
Huh?
My dear Mr. Holmes, I have every reason to believe my life is in danger. Yet, if you were to ask me how I know, I couldn't give you a logical answer. There is nothing tangible, yet like a terrible premonition, it is all so frightfully real. I heard of your being in Quebec, and I'm turning to you, a stranger, and asking your help in the frantic hope that you'll not fail me.
Oh, who's it from?
It's signed Lillian Penrose.
Lady Penrose? A letter from the dead woman? Well, what's it mean, Holmes?
I should say that Lady Penrose lived in fear of her life. Some secret hidden in her past, in all probability.
Oh, perhaps it isn't as simple as that. What if Penrose is right? I'm glad we're going back to London. Things like that can't happen in Baker Street.
More's the pity, Watson.
Huh?
Do you know a village by the name of La Mort Rouge?
Yes, sir. It's about 12 miles from here, up towards the falls.
Thank you.
Great Scott, Holmes. You mean you're going to take on the case?
Quite. Telephone the airport and cancel our reservations, will you?
Certainly, sir.
Consider, Watson, the irony, the tragic irony. We've accepted a commission from the victim to find her murderer. For the first time, we've been retained by a corpse.
Doesn't seem to be a bell.
Never mind, come along.
Do you think we should? What a cold, cheerless-looking room.
What do you want? Who are you?
Mr. Sherlock Holmes, I apologize for this intrusion.
Would you mind, gentlemen? Mr. Holmes, is it your custom to burst into people's houses without ringing the bell?
We couldn't find the bell, sir.
If you've come here to use the death of my wife to prove your theories, I must ask you to leave.
Penrose, I received this letter from Lady Penrose this morning.
That was devilish awkward.
I'm afraid you're a little late, Mr. Holmes. My wife's dead.
And I've come here to find her murderer.
You might have saved yourself the trouble. I'm convinced that the solution of this horrible deed lies in an understanding of psychic phenomena. Although I don't expect you to admit that, Mr. Holmes.
I assure you, Penrose, I neither believe nor disbelieve in anything, including psychic phenomena. If I could just see Lady Penrose, it might help dispel much of the mystery that surrounds these happenings in the Montrouge.
Drake, why don't you answer the blasted thing? Sergeant Thompson has charge of the case. You'll find him at the police station. And now I must ask you to go and take your assistant with you. You'll excuse me if I don't show you out. Drake! Drake! Drake, where are you? What?
Holmes, I've seen it before.
Right, Watson, you have.
Yes, but where?
Never mind that now. We must examine the wound before Penrose returns and has us thrown out of the house.
Clumsy job. Just missed the jugular vein. It must have bled to death.
And it bled for several hours, eh?
Possibly more.
Long enough for Penrose to leave Le Montrouge and reach Quebec in time for the meeting?
Holmes, you don't suspect
I
Penrose?
suspect nobody, Watson. I was just asking a question.
I beg your pardon, gentlemen. There is another who desired the death of her ladyship. I saw it last night in the fields, moving in and out of the shadows.
You're the butler, aren't you?
I was the butler. I've given notice.
Drake! Get out. Get out of this. I trust you found what you were looking for.
Two things have been made clear to me, Penrose. That your wife was murdered and that she's Lillian Gentry.
Lillian Gentry?
Will you leave, or must I call the police?
That will not be necessary.